Hi everybody, and welcome back to my Persona 4 Golden Let's Play. In the last part we got about halfway through the second dungeon of the game, Kanji's Dungeon, Stevie Bathhouse, and so start this part is the continuation. I missed terribly. And hit him, there we go. So yeah, we're just continuing to beat up shadows and attempt to level up to take on the mid-level boss, which is on this floor. And we've got another enemy. And this is the dancing hand. Where is it? Dancing hand is strong to fire, ice, electric, and wind, and has neutral damage to everything else. We've already seen these guys before. Where are they? Daring Geigas, I think, and they're strong to physical attacks and neutral to everything else.
Sensei's back on his feet.
So yeah, the dancing hands are pretty. If you're leveled up to a pretty decent level, so by this point you should be at level 24 at this point. If you're around about that level, then the dancing hands will be no issue for you whatsoever. Physical attacks tend to work pretty well on them, so just hit them until they die. That was that little cut there was me looking at the map and cutting out me looking at the map, but me telling you I was looking at the map means that you know I looked at the map. Anyway, and so here we go. This is the mid-tier boss, the mid-dungeon boss. This is Daring Geigas. Basically, I guess it's slightly stronger and bigger version of the enemy we faced in the normal dungeon. So he always starts by doing that. He gets his critical rate up, and he also gets his defense up. This guy is basically blocks. That was Tentrifu. I was trying to attempt to inflict a status element on the boss. They don't work on bosses. That was my own bad. That was me being a dumbass. So yeah, then he puts his attack up. So now he's at really high. So and the biggest problem that you've got with him is that he does all that and then he attacks, and he can cause a fuck ton of damage and really hurt you very quickly. But as long as you keep attacking him like I'm doing here, then you should be perfectly fine. I would say that he is, yeah, and it causes critical, and he charges himself up, so it's kind of tough to combat him in that respect. But he has no weaknesses, and he's also, I don't know, it's a level 24, so you even beat him with being a level behind him, so no problem. So I learned Dodge Wind, which is a particularly decent move here because this persona is weak to wind attacks. So it's Dodge Wind basically increases your dodge rate to wind, which is very useful if you plan to keep Oberon in use. But as I was saying about Daring Geigas, he has no weaknesses. He is immune to light and dark attacks, but we don't have light and dark attacks, so it's pretty much just hit him with your most powerful moves until he falls. And yeah, it's a pretty simple mid-tier boss at the end of the day. So yeah, he shouldn't cause you any issues whatsoever. And this is, I guess, it's a little bit different than the first boss, the first dungeon, because in the first dungeon, Lifestone, Increases your HP by a small amount. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. It's slightly different in the fact that in the last one it was kind of like part of the general corridor, whereas this was like a big room and then you continued the floor after the fact. And oh yeah, so here we go. This is another new enemy. And these are, I'm trying to remember their names. These are the pursuing, they're not the pursuing beasts. I believe these are the tranquil idols. They are only weak to dark attacks, which we don't have, but they're neutral to everything else, so you can still beat them pretty easily. And like I said, if you're pretty much every enemy that you face in this dungeon now, if you're at the correct level, then you should be fine. If two enemies attack you, or spot you, while you attack one of them, then you'll have one fight after another. It's not going to be a massive problem, to be honest.
There are 3 enemies. Careful!
To be fair, but yeah, it's not going to cause too many problems. So these are the bronze dice, I believe. The iron dice, and they are weak to elec, weak to electricity. They were. Sorry, that one there, which had the sort of that was on top of the upside down pyramid. That was the tranquil idol. The ones before that were actually the wondrous magus, and they are neutral to everything. So no weaknesses, but no strength either. Pretty much the only thing you've got to worry about in terms of weaknesses, strengths, whatever. All you have to care about is weaknesses. Like strengths, so something's you're not gonna cause any damage to a certain enemy by using a certain type of attack. Then you need to know that, but otherwise, as long as it causes neutral damage, you'll still cause a decent amount of damage. We got the magic mirror there. The magic mirror is a spell which is an item which reflects magical attacks. One magical attack, I think. It only works once, I believe. So if you get hit by a magic attack, it will automatically reflect it. But if you haven't got another one, sort of, if you don't put another one on instantly, then it's not going to help you.
There are 2 enemies. Hang in there.
So that's the crying table. It's strong to physical and strong to fire. But and also strong to ice and electricity and wind, but it's weak to ice, so you're not going to have an issue with these guys. And that is also the egotistical king, who is weak to fire. Where are we? Yeah, he's weak to fire. He drains electricity, which means it heals him. And he also repels light and dark, but neutral to everything else, so attack him and it's fairly easy. So this enemy is the Grave Beetle. It's strong against light attacks, but neutral to everything else, so yeah, again, a fairly simple enemy to defeat. I believe it's also, it doesn't cause, it's also got a pretty decent physical defense. So yeah, don't try and so going at him with a physical attack will not do you any good. I missed, and I got him that time, the bastard. And here we are, we're running down corridors again. As you can tell, I'm running out of things to say. There's only so much you can say in you know, when you're going through a dungeon. Because even though they try, and I have to say they do a decent job with it. They do a decent job with trying to up the variety of like the individual floors by giving you different layouts and in certain instances giving you new things to deal with. It's still pretty difficult to try and talk through them. These are the killer twins. They're strong against physical, they repel electricity, and they're weak to fire and neutral to everything else. So Yukiko is your best bet for this battle. Or you can just have a GA kill and shit out of them, but yeah. Yukiko is your best bet with the fire attacks. And HP. They become very useful later in later dungeons, and now we're at level 25. And if I have a look, hang on. Oh right. So the boss of this, the final boss of this dungeon, which is of course Shadow Kanji, he's level 24 as well, so it's actually not going to take too much. So we're already a level above where we need to be. Absolutely no problems. So that is there's the Phantom Master. He is weak to wind and light. He doesn't have any dark attacks, don't have any effect against him, and he's neutral to everything else. So once again, a fairly straightforward boss battle. Snuff Soul is a SP replenisher. So yeah, the final boss I believe is on floor. It's on floor 11. Is it on floor 11? Yeah. The top floor it's on the top floor, floor 11. And it's actually not that. This is a pretty good dungeon, just considering. I like the fact that it's quite straightforward. My least favourite is in a couple of dungeons time, and the reason why that pisses me off is because you have to go like the bosses. There's mid-tier bosses on the second floor. You then have to go up to the 6th floor to get the key. Go back down to the 2nd floor to get to the boss. And then once you've got beaten the mid-tier boss, you can then go up to the final boss, who's on the 10th floor. So it's just kind of annoying to, you know, it's just kind of annoying to have to deal with. It's kind of a bit of a backtracking dungeon, which I don't like all that much. But yeah. But it's not the end of the world though, I guess, but just not my favourite. And I keep this in. There's me restoring Gio's health. Should have cut that out really. Oh well. I've said that a fair bit, I've noticed in the last couple of parts, so obviously my editing work was not up to snuff. And that guy is fucking persistent. Hit him, there you go. And we got the soul food. That greatly replenishes your SP, I believe. As you can see, one thing I will say is that you can buy, and I tend to do this, you can buy like health replenishing items and SP replenishing items throughout the dungeon. However, as you've seen from the amount of items I've got during the dungeons themselves, if you don't want to spend your money on that, then you don't have to. But I don't know what you'd spend the money on other than, you know, weapons and stuff like that. But I would probably wait. Because with the weapons, because you get fairly decent weapons in dungeon as well. So it's kind of so you know, I would recommend buying some. I'd recommend buying some weapons. I'd recommend buying weapons like right at the end, right, to get your most powerful weapon that you've got at that point near the end of the dungeon. But other than that, he's clipping through the fucking wall. Other than that, I would say leave the weapons alone. Because you pick up like weapons after beating sub-bosses. Not sub-bosses, optional bosses, so it's not the end of the world. So yeah, that would be my suggestion. And we're almost to the end of the dungeon now, because we're on floor 10. And floor 11, and the boss is on floor 11. That is something I like about the final floor, is that they're always kind of like just basically a simple straightforward corridor with a door at the end, and then you go in to fight the boss. Fire suppressor is useful if you have an ally that's weak to fire attacks. Put that on them and it increases their fire attack resistance. And we are done, we're on the 11th floor. And we're now ready to take on Shadow Kanji. But first, replenish my SP. And I went in also to I always do this before a final before the end boss of a dungeon.
Oh, excuse me.
I always go off to face. I always go off to like improve my like fuse personas to get a little bit stronger, just so I've got somebody, a persona that's up to the same level as me. 20, which would be 24 in this case. 25, 26 in this case.
This room is bound tightly to your fate.
But here, this is the setup to Margaret's social link. I'll say this now, I won't be doing Margaret's social link, I'm just showing you how you go about setting it up, if you know what I mean. Setting up the social link, how it comes to be and all that.
The Velvet Room is inseparable
So,
of its invited guest.
Yeah,
The shape of the room and its residents are selected by my master.
the best way to do the
number of guests and their destiny.
so with Margaret's social link, what you have to do is to get her level to go up, she wants to see a certain persona with a certain ability. As you can tell, this can be quite annoying, because it requires a lot of grinding and going through past dungeons to try and get the persona at the right level to have those abilities. The good thing is that you can find guides, there's plenty online, telling you, okay, you need to fuse these 2 or these 3 together to at these levels to get this. Sorry. So yeah, that's what you have to do, and it can be quite annoying to. So it's not difficult to find out which personas you have to fuse to get the right persona. It's just more of a time thing, which is really annoying. And the first one is an Ippon Datra that knows Sukaja. I don't believe I even did the first level, and I don't think I will. But yeah, it's just annoying. I don't want to do it, and the only thing it unlocks is a optional boss fight just before you face the final boss in the final dungeon, where you face off against Margaret. But enough of talking about that, because now we're facing off against
What's so bad about doing what I want to do?
we're at the final boss fight, and we're going to show Shadow Kanji.
I'm what you really want, aren't I? Hell no! Oh, how I hate girls. So arrogant and self-centered. They cry if you get angry, they gossip behind your back, they spread nasty lies. They look at me like some disgusting thing and say that I'm a weirdo, laughing at me all the while. You like to sew? What a queer! Painting is so not you. But you're a guy. You don't act like a guy. Why aren't you manly? What does it mean to be a guy? What does it mean to be manly?
So this is pretty much
I ain't scared of them.
more of a Kanji's deal, because it seems to be a bit of like
They never say this.
the impression was given that is more of repressed kind of sexuality. It's kind of continued here
What makes you think you can say that shit with my
with that
face?
line there, but
And I'm
it's more of a thing about him
you do know
not
No.
being accepted for who he
There's
is.
no way in hell that
That,
you're
you know,
me.
the perception is that he should be a certain way and he should be a manually incredibly manly dude, but instead is like more into things that are less manly. And yep, that's subtle.
Kanji-kun!
That is incredibly subtle there. Yeah, Jesus Christ. I love you, Atlas, but you wouldn't do subtlety if it came and bite you on the ass. So this here is Shadow Kanji. He has no weaknesses and he drains electricity. He is also he also blocks light and dark attacks.
Kanji-kun's true feelings.
Level 24, so I would say
Isn't really him. It's just his emotions going
minimum level
haywire.
should be at is 24, to be honest. If you can get a bit above that, like 26 or so, then that's fantastic. And here's me showing off, that's my new persona, Lamia. So the strategy that I have is this. So you see that he has two guys next to him, two side enemies, and they are the one on the left is weak to ice, the one on the right is weak to fire. Get rid of those two first and then focus solely on Kanji. So here's what I normally do, is that I have Yukiko, who's got strong fire attacks, and you got Chie, who's got strong ice attacks, so you can attack those at will, and then use Yosuke to attack Shadow Kanji, so at least you get some damage in. And that's kind of an annoying attack. And they tend to do that.
Yosuke's all
It
poison.
just me. What that attack basically means is that the damage is reduced slightly, and they won't get knocked down from those kinds of attacks. However,
You're doing well.
I would still say continue to attack them with those movesets. And you see, we've already got the one that's weak to ice out. The way I did it in this fight was basically me and Chie used ice attacks to get rid of him, Yukiko used fire attacks, and Yusuke used whatever basic attacks he had. Whatever his strongest attack is on Shadow Kanji. So that's purely what I do. For some reason I didn't attack him. I think at this point I was kind of thinking, oh, it's because, yeah, he's weak to fire. See, it's says resist, but it's still causing over 100 damage.
Get out of my way.
So I'd still continue with that strategy.
Give me more.
Of course there is a way around it. Could use a, you know, because there are moves which remove enemy buffs. So you could use that, I guess. But yeah, it's not the end of the world. So yeah, it's actually kind of a clever boss fight, because it actually tends to make it gets your brain whirring and makes you think, okay, I've got to get those two out, but I've also got to cause damage to Shadow Kanji pretty much straight from the off. So it does force you to kind of think, okay, what do I do here? Do I... And see, Resistance still doing 174 damage. You're going to get rid of him eventually. And I guess it all depends on how powerful your attacks are, if you know what I mean. Like if you've got pretty strong fire and ice attacks in your team, and that's counter, that's a very useful move that Cheer's got. But yeah, if you've got powerful fire and ice attacks in your team, you can get rid of them fairly quickly, and now I get the idea to actually use my own fire moves on this guy to get him out of the game a little bit faster. So yeah, we're still attacking. It does take me a whole lot of time, and I think it's purely because I didn't go in with a ridiculously sound strategy. There you go, did 427 damage. Do it again. This should getting down to no health. Yeah, look at that. And we got rid of him.
Can you stand?
So now it's just down to Kanji. This move is incredibly good, and it's also incredibly vital that you improve Yukiko's stats. You know, that you get a social link going, because she then is down the line even more powerful healing attacks, healing moves, which are which are vital later on in dungeons. As you can see, you know, it eventually works. No, Tom, there you go. And this should be the last hit, and we're done. Overall, the boss fight is, I would say, slightly harder than Yukiko's boss fight, but still, war of attrition. You'll eventually win. You know what I mean? It's not exactly. It's not ridiculously hard, but it's not ridiculously easy either. I enjoy it. It's a good boss fight. I have fun with it.
Yukiko, something's wrong.
Oh, this is something different. He's still coming at us. Holy shit, dude. Kanji, what are you doing?
I can't blame him with this many witnesses.
Such a passionate approach.
What?
Yosuke.
I think that
Yosuke's reaction there is fucking hilarious.
make wonderful boyfriends.
Stop it! You got it all wrong.
Yosuke does not bend that way.
Stop! What the hell are you blabbering about?
Kanji's voice acting is really fucking good.
Won't someone, anyone please?
And here comes the real reason why
Stop it!
Kanji's inner turmoil.
Tell me for who I am.
Acceptance.
Whoa! I really don't swing that way!
I just said that.
I said stop it!
Well, that's the first. He just decked his shadow.
Can't believe something like this is insane.
This is the moment where Kanji officially becomes a badass.
Yeah, I know. I've known all this time I had something like you. It ain't a matter of guys or chicks.
And here comes the real reason why his shadow's
Total
gone nuts.
pansy. Tries to
Just a
make everyone
scare,
happy.
fear of rejection, and wanting to be accepted but for who he really is.
You make it sound like you've got it all figured out.
You know, not treated like an
Come
outcast.
on, get up. Anyone who looks like me, I know they ain't
yeah,
so
very
weak they
relatable, I
can't
guess.
take a punch.
And it's
I already know that you're me.
it's sort of
You're
continued
me.
in his
I'm you. damn it.
social link. It's pretty interesting actually. I really like Kanji's social link, and that persona is badass. And actually, when you level up, he actually becomes looks a bit shitter, to be honest. And that's his persona Taki Mikazuku Zuchu, whatever. And he's collapsed.
Let's get him out of here.
God, it must have taken all four of them to carry that fat bastard out. That heavy bastard out.
Kanji-kun, are you okay?
It's nothing.
Sure.
Whoa. I feel great. It's like my mind's all cleared up.
Glad to hear it, asshole.
Hey, about what just happened.
It's a dream. Forget about it. No problem.
Bullshit. I ain't that stupid.
We'll explain everything later. You need to take a rest now.
And so we have saved Kanji. He is now
School?
not going to die,
Sure, if I ever feel like going.
happily.
I'll
And
take this guy home. If anyone
yeah,
asks,
so now we've
say
just
I found
gotta
him somewhere like this.
wait for him to recover before we can continue on with the investigation. Basically, do side quest shit before you can carry on with the main quest, with the main story. Back with the
Oh, I
Dojimas.
forgot to tell you. Remember that Kanji Tatsumi guy I told you about? You know, the one who went nuts on that news special. His
No, I don't
family
know him at
shop
all.
called in to report him missing, but now he's been found. I thought I'd let you know since you go to the same high school.
Oh, that's such a relief. And I did not know about that beforehand, honest uncle.
One other thing. Some people have seen you around that textile shop lately, I hear. It's not the kind of shop students normally visit. Just what kind of business did you have there?
Am I proud to be there?
Friend? Oh, that Amani.
It's not that I'm jumping into TVs and saving people.
Her family's in, buys their stuff.
Perish the thought.
Fine. Just
Still,
don't
he
get yourself
suspects
in
me.
over your head, okay?
You shouldn't suspect me, even though, you know,
Are you
You should.
fighting again?
that makes no sense. No, we're not fine. We're having a loud conversation. So, waiting for Kanji to recover. So, yeah, I'm now... am I starting it? No, we've already started this. So, yeah, we're now continuing the Adachi social link. I've probably said it before, but this one is one of the two that are vital to max out if you want to unlock the final two dungeons of the game and get the best ending.
Huh? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you seem like a nice guy. Only you think about looks, you egotistical prick. Yeah, it's kind of odd. The Adachi social link is kind of odd because he does come across as... on one hand he comes across as like this nice dude who is just trying to improve his career prospects and all that kind of shit. But on the other hand, it's when he says stuff like that, you know, that old woman's pestering him and all this shit, and you know, it's when he says stuff like that that you're actually a bit of a prick, aren't you? You're actually a bit of an asshole as well, so it's
Really?
kind of hard to read him, I think, when you first play the game. I mean, once you play the game, once you know the deal with him. But First playthrough, especially if you don't pay attention to spoilers for a game that was released initially in 2008. It is a bit of a... There are little hints. There are little hints if you pay attention. And we've gone up to level 2.
See ya.
I believe you need to get up to level 6 before December rolls around. So, go to work, Hidachi. Do your job, bitch. That's it, I've ended for today. So, where are we going?
Huh?
Okay, so here we are. We're now going to
Let's go.
continue. We're going to continue the Marie social link. And this is, to my mind, probably the most interesting social link in the whole game. She's actually a really interesting character. Plus, I really like her design. The design's pretty cool. I'm Chie Satanaka.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, she's now going to be talking about TVs.
Whatever.
I don't want one. Honestly, I don't. So you do want one. What kind of show's that?
Why?
For some reason, Marie seems proud. I thought that was pretty funny.
Huh? That's right.
Kung Fu movies. I do like that they spell it, you know, that they spell out that obviously she's heard the word but doesn't quite know how to say it. To kind of heard it in kind of passing conversation. I do kind of like that. And as you can see, Chie's ate 2 lots and we haven't eaten even our first one. I also like how direct she is with other characters in the game, and it suits her character very well. Yeah, instead of wasting time in front of it. Instead of wasting time outside, they should spend their lives watching TV. Well, to be fair, it's a motto I live by. I agree completely.
Hey,
You don't remember?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is pretty much the setup of Marie's the kind of fact that Marie is an amnesiac, and you have to help her rediscover her memories. And that's the whole point of the Marie
Nope.
social link. I'd be concerned if I couldn't remember anything either. So what she knows is that this is hers. She's holding a bamboo comb, which I think is supposed to be kind of symbolic. And we've moved Marie on to level 2 of her social link. And that's pretty much it. That's it for this part. So join me for the next part. We'll be continuing to do side quest stuff. Well, we'll be continuing a load of social links. And we might do the sub-boss in the... Not sub-boss, the optional boss in Kanji's Dungeon. So I'll see you next time when we'll continue with this side quest. See you then.